it's nice to have the ability to see why you judge and not shame yourself for judging. We all judge, and we judge to protect ourselves. It's kind of like self-preservation mechanism. So yeah, whenever I catch myself judging others, I immediately go inside. What is my need to judge this right now? Am I judging this in myself?
I feel like that's one of the things we do most unconsciously. It's just like happens all the time. And we judge ourselves a lot too by comparison. Say I'm not where I should be, or this person's at this place, and you start using that to attack yourself. It's an interesting concept because it's also not true. That's the irony of the judging, is that we can always judge someone who's below us, and we can always judge someone who's ahead of us. But like, it's always the case if you're judging someone that like, if you're putting them down, you think you're better than them. But if you're doing that, then there's someone also better than you who's judging you. We had a nice conversation yesterday, I think, just about dating and what we're looking for in relationships. Anything else come up for you, or maybe lessons you got from the show You on Netflix?
Yes, let's talk about. You haven't watched it, right?
I watched, I think, the first couple seasons. I don't know how many there are, but I watched in the beginning, so I understand the premise. And then it just kind of lost interest, or it became darker for me than I was interesting.
Yeah, it's super dark.
Yeah.
So this season, the last season of You, they really focus on Joe's character, and they really bring out the darkness in him. It's funny because I was watching it, and it reminded me so much of my narcissistic abuse. And it's literally women that are like facing him on what he did. And you see his perspective. You see how you hear how his mind works, and how he literally believes that every murder was like for the benefit or to save someone. And they break down the specific type of woman that will choose him. And they break down like what had me like, oh my God, was like, he weaponizes love. So he will make a girl feel so seen and so loved like never, like no one ever did. And that's how he gets them, you know? And he always chooses like this broken winged girl, and it was really touched a lot of like pain points and emotions for me. And I just had goosebumps, and I was like going on a ride here. It was interesting to see how they break down narcissistic behavior, you know, like gaslight and all of it. Crazy. I think from a psychological standpoint, like, watch it. It's wow.
Yeah.
Being in the mind of like a serial killer, but like, and in the end there was a little bit of parts work, which was interesting. I was like, damn. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I want to hear more about the parts work. But yeah, no, I mean, I understand. I think, unfortunately, that's probably why the series is so popular, right? Because like so many people are on the opposite end of, like, on the receiving end of that. So I think the purpose of the show is to sort of try to relate to the receiving end by showing the giving end, like what it feels and looks like on the other side. And in some ways provide some sort of explanation maybe to some people who are like trying to rationalize some of that behavior. It probably resonates with a lot of women, unfortunately, who are probably either used to that or seen that. Maybe it resonates with guys too. I'm not sure. It is interesting because we just talked the other day about feeling how important it is for you to feel seen, right? And like you said, he goes out of his way to kind of do that. And I think a lot of people, guys and women, in the beginning of dating also do that kind of stuff, right? It's like you're on your best behavior, you're doing things that make you feel seen. And I'm not saying it's necessarily manipulative a lot of the time, but there is a feeling like, okay, I guess in the unconscious dating world, sort of like, what do I have to do to get them to like me? Or I want to make sure that I make them feel good, because if I make them feel good, then they'll like me. It's still this sort of tit for tat. If I do this, I get this. It's this very conditional situation. And I was thinking about what you said the other day, like how it's so important for you to feel seen. And what's interesting is between us, what's happened is that there are many times, and you've communicated to me that I've made you feel seen and safe and all these things. And then the other day or last week, whenever we had this conversation about, we had a rough conversation, like just our energies weren't matching, and I probably used some words I shouldn't have, and I came in hot, and that's just how I work. I'm like always with a good intention, trying to help, but maybe I do it too intensely. And so that hurt you or struck you the wrong way. And your communication to me was, hey, like, I don't feel seen right now. And I appreciate you sharing that. What I find is interesting is that, like, what are the odds? What are the percentages that someone will feel seen all the time? Like it's bound to happen that one person's going to say something or act in a certain way where the other person doesn't feel seen. So there's some like spectrum to this where it's like if someone says, I want to feel seen, there's a percentage of the time that you get to be seen, right? Like what percentage is that? Is it just an overall feeling? Nothing's ever 100%. So if you're seen the majority of time, does that count? You know, I think so many people, what they do is like, if there are one or two instances where they don't feel seen or don't feel heard, then it's like, okay, they brush the entire painting with that. I should say they paint the entire canvas with that brush, which is like, oh, I don't feel seen, don't feel heard, but without taking the totality of the relationship into account. So like recency bias is a great term for that, right? It's like whatever happened most recently is what I'll remember. So yeah, I think that struck me in that sense because it's like he's using it in a manipulative way to get what he wants to make people feel good. And it's not necessarily that making people feel good or making the woman feel good and having connection with her is such a bad thing. It's the intention behind it. It's I'm doing it for this. I'm doing it because I want to get something instead of like I am creating goodness and good feelings inside of me. I'm creating feelings of love. I'm creating feelings of safety, all this kind of stuff. And I want to share that. I want someone else to experience that. My cup is overflowing and I want to send that out to someone else. Not so that I'd get something because I already have it. I'm already feeling it. It's already here. But I want someone else to experience it. I want my partner. I want this person I'm dating. I want my friend. So anyways.
Yeah. What I have to say about it is that human beings, like we are transactional. And that's not a bad thing. It's just how it is. And I want to receive value where I'm giving value. I don't just walk around, oh, my cup is really full, let me spread it around, right? It's not how we really work, I think. Or at least we don't operate from there all the time. That's one thing, because I think it's important. I don't think that it's okay that you want that value exchange, and it's okay that you give in order to get. It's not necessarily this bad thing. That's what we do when we go to a job, like anything, you know? Like I will nurture a relationship and I will give in relationship because I want it to be mutual. I want to also get back. Regarding our conversation and about feeling seen all the time, I'm aware that any relationship, I won't feel seen all the time. But in the context of me and you, just telling you, hey, I feel unseen, here's why, is how I saw myself. And by sharing it with you, I hope that we deepen the intimacy and seeing each other better. I did notice that you came from a place of like, yeah, you're painting a picture, like you're forgetting everything that was in the past. All the times I did see you, and then I was like, no, I know, I'm doing this for me. I'm seeing myself here, communicating what I'm feeling. And I think that everybody goes into a relationship, they have those intentions, the good intentions, right? They want to show up for someone, they want to see someone, and they will put effort, and then somewhere along the way, it's kind of like vary in levels. What do you think about that?
It's an interesting take. I'm not sure I'm fully aligned with that. I mean, I feel like going back to the transactional alignment, like that to me feels very unconscious. Like I feel like that's probably where I used to be. It's sort of like I give you, you give me. That feels very conditional, feels manipulative. It doesn't feel healthy. Whereas instead, what feels right and like more conscious and more awakened for me, it's this dance. It's the yin and the yang. It's that I can't have the dark without the light. It's the law of polarity. Not necessarily meaning that I'm doing something to get something. It's that for my cup to be full, for my life to be all the colors of the rainbow, I need some addition to my life. Like, I also feel like, let's say you start a new job, right? In your context or your example, it's like if I do something, I get something back. Whereas like the way I like to look at it is, let's say you're new, you're starting in a company and you just joined and you have all these people that you're asking questions, you're asking like newbie questions. How do I do this? Where do I go for this? And all these people are helping you. And on the surface, it looks transactional, right? Because like, oh, if they help me, then they're expecting at some point to get some value back from me. It's the whole point. You train a new person and then they get the skills, they get the expertise. And then on the back end, once they're ready, they can now support the team and they can take up maybe some of the things that were on your plate and to help you with your bandwidth. I think that's what it looks like. But I think what could happen underneath the surface is if you're able to delineate and really pull that apart and say, let's say you were the person that's on the team and this new person comes and says, hey, help train me. And you can say, yes, if I train you and help you, then you'll help me. Or what you could say is, for me, this feels like the right thing to do. This feels good for me, not even for this person, not to train them so that they know, but I know in my heart and soul that this is the right, good thing to do. And it provides me feelings of goodness. It makes me feel aligned. I feel helpful. I feel healthy. I feel good about me by helping this person. I think that's just like there's an underlying distinction.
Let me
to
say
make
it
there. Yeah.
because it is giving you something, right? It's giving you to feel good, to feel aligned, right?
The feeling.
So that's what I mean, though.
Yeah.
I don't mean like let's be transactional and just think what am I getting out of it. I mean anything that we do, there is something to be like received from it, right? And there's nothing bad about it, you know?
Yeah, like I think what you're, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what you're saying is that 3D reality provides you opportunities, aka mirrors, for those feelings, for you to create those feelings within yourself, right? Or for you to work through those growth opportunities for your own spiritual development. If that's not what you're saying, that's fine. That's what I'm saying. And that for me is why relationships, why all the things we go through in life are so important, because they are there to help you grow for yourself and to go through this journey of life on your own. Everyone has their own journey. Everyone has their own karma, their own soul's baggage, their own things they're working on. So it's like we all have our own unique lanes, in some respects, using our 3D reality to reflect back to us where we need to grow. So it's transactional in the sense that it's reflecting back to me what I still need to work on and the feelings that I'm looking for in this life.
Absolutely. That's really correct. And also, I feel like when I'm looking for a person and I want to love someone, why do I want to love them?
You want to have those feelings within yourself, most likely.
So that's also kind of like transactional. And the point I'm trying to make is that it's not a bad thing. We don't need to make it like, oh, they want something from me. No, we all walk in this 3D dimension, having needs, wanting those needs met, wanting to feel something, wanting to have something, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't think it's wrong, but I also just don't think it's 100% accurate. Like, I think what, in my mind, my belief is that whatever we see in the 3D world is a reflection of what's going on inside of us. So if we are in a relationship or we're in a scenario where we're being reflected back pain or an opportunity for growth or unpleasant emotion or unpleasant experience, it's simply because we have a self-limiting belief of ourselves. We have a self-concept that's either putting our own self down, criticizing ourselves, feeling that we're unworthy, undeserving of goodness, undeserving of money, undeserving of love, whatever it is, we're seeing that. So then because we're feeling that, we see the reflection. And then our goal is to kind of use that in reverse, to see the reflection as a readout of how we're feeling, and then go back inside, work on ourselves, how we're feeling, our limiting beliefs. And then as we do that work, we see that. That's the infinity loop. What happens is we use the external world as a readout for how we're feeling. If we want that to change, we change how we're feeling, we change what we're seeing. That's how that goes.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that I'm using it in a transaction. It's more of like I'm using it as a mirror for what's happening for me.
That those two ideas don't contradict. It's like one universal idea and another universal idea, and they work together. They're aligned.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So Joe, for example, his mom made him kill his stepdad or something.
Oh, wow.
In that moment of the parts walk per se, then this girl he loves basically told them like, hey, you learned when you were young that you need to kill to show love or to get love or something like that, right? And it's just a part of you, Joe. There is this part of you is protecting little Joe that feels like he needs to do something in order to get love. So I loved it. I thought it was like spot on. And then there was like 2 minutes where he was like, oh, you're right. Oh, I'm healed. And then he killed again. It was funny.
It's cool that you resonate with that. I could see you loving that. That would make sense to me too. And like, I feel like we're seeing a lot of that in the media now.
Yeah,
it's so cool. It's starting to come up.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. I just all over it. And a lot of TV shows touch it. Even the 100, it ends by a test from the universe if the human species is worth like ascending.
I think we should have said spoiler alert to a lot of people.
Yeah, it's an old show, 2007.
Sorry, old show.
I hope that by the time we use
I haven't seen it, but good luck. Yeah, by the time we use this.
So by the time that people see this, they already watched the new season of You.
So it's also parts work.
No, I don't think so, but it is on the idea of ascension and
consciousness.
Yeah, and basically the woman that was chose to show up for the test, she failed. She failed, and then the universe judged her behavior on the entire human species. And then something happened. We kind of won because we showed humanity and, togetherness and unity. And then everybody ascended, which means basically leaving your body form and ascending to one consciousness, like the idea, huh? And then that girl that was failing the test, she was the only one left on Earth to live out her days and die.
Oh, wow.
By the end of it, you basically see her talking to the universe again in the manifestation of the girl that she loved. And she basically says that her friends, like they show all of her friends, the ones that 7 seasons fought with her on the human race, basically decided that they don't want to ascend and they want to stay together. And she's like, yeah, so the human race is very particular and there won't be any offsprings and you are not going to ascend. But have fun, basically. And I really loved it, watching TV and seeing all these concepts. It's like, wow. And it was really touching because we are special as human beings, Like what makes us human is not being perfect. What makes us human is being messy and choosing love over whatever, extinction, and always fighting, right? Fighting to survive. And I really love that show.
There's a lot of those consciousness things coming out, which I love. Like we've already talked about a few shows. We talked about Mr. Robot, which sounds like a little bit of parts work, but also this manipulation, like relationship dynamic. That show, it's super popular. And one of the Black episodes, which there's two. It's like USS Callister, I think, was season 6. It's season 7 that came out with the part 2 of that. So it's a lot of much. And it kind of comes for people, but it was amazing. The concept was of us